Malkin's Moments. I'm ending a couple minutes early this week, but I have some great Malkin's Moments. So first of all, I've been talking a ton about Albert Pujols. And some people are probably thinking that it's getting a bit redundant, and perhaps it is, but it's deserving. It's deserving because Albert Pujols has been on a tear. The St. Louis Cardinals have been on a tear. Albert Pujols, not only did he hit his 693rd home run recently, but he has been slugging 1.300, above a 1, and specifically a 1.3 over his last 10 games, which is the highest mark in his entire career. This is a guy who's 42 years old. He's been in the majors for like 2 decades. And he's been actually leading the charge for the Cardinals, who have won 9 of their last 10 games. They've got, I believe, the 3rd best record in the National League, just behind the Dodgers and the New York Mets. Then it's the Cardinals. The Braves are behind them. They've been rolling. They've been on an absolute tear. They're over 70 wins on the season. And again, they just had an 8-game winning streak snapped, but Albert Pujols has been doing his part and then some. And then some. So some people may think I've been talking about him ad nauseum, but it's been deserving, because what he's doing at this age and just the totality of his career, it's impressive. And it's nothing short of spectacular. And we're all rooting for him to catch 696, which is how many home runs Alex Rodriguez has hit. That would tie him with A-Rod. If he can get to 700, he'd be just the 4th guy in MLB history to reach 700 home runs. We're all rooting for it, but so far, major shout out again to Albert Pujols. I have to keep giving him his flowers. Shout out to the San Diego Wave and Alex Morgan. The San Diego Wave are apparently set to break the National Women's Soccer League single game attendance record. Alex Morgan, of course, one of the most beloved and famous United States women's soccer players. She burst onto the scene several years ago during the USA's gold medal runs at the in the World Cup. And she revealed to ESPN that they have sold in excess of 27,000 tickets for their upcoming September 17th match against Angel City FC, which apparently would be enough to break the National Women's Soccer League's all-time attendance record for a standalone game. Again, the game is going to be held at Snapdragon Stadium on the new Mission Valley campus of San Diego State University, where the Aztecs play. And it's going to break a previous record for a standalone game of 25,218 attendees. That was set back in 2019 at Providence Park between the Portland Thorns and the North Carolina Courage. And obviously their new goal, there being the San Diego Wave, is to have a complete sellout, which would be over 32,000 seats and tickets being sold. So that's their overall big goal. But they're generating a lot of buzz. And I think that this is highlighting the growth and popularity of women's soccer, especially in the United States. There's always this conversation and comparison between the popularity of men's sports and women's sports. And when it comes to women's sports, the 2 sports in particular that have consistently matched the level of interest between the men's and the women's has been soccer and tennis. Women's tennis generates just as many views. The women's national soccer team is tremendous, and especially when it comes to key players that are not only outspoken, but that have big personalities. And Alex Morgan is certainly one of those. And I'm glad to see that a lot of people are going out to support that team and the women's soccer leagues in general, because it's very fun to watch. And there are tremendous athletes and players. That's Malkin's Moment. That's my second Malkin's Moment. I got a couple more for you. Nick Saban. Shout out to the GOAT, the legend in college football, arguably the greatest college football head coach of all time. Even at 70 years old, he inked a new 8-year, $93.6 million extension to remain with the Tide through 2030, becoming once again college football's highest paid coach. It will give him a new average salary of $11.7 million per year, solidifying his status as the highest paid college football coach. And again, this guy is 70 years old, but doesn't seem to be slowing down one bit. Still has the same juice, still has the same energy and intensity towards coaching, towards recruiting. Again, college football and really collegiate sports in general, but especially these high revenue sports like football and basketball, to be a coach at that level, it's a 24-hour job. It's a 365 days out of the year type of job because recruiting never stops. You're recruiting before the season. You're recruiting during the season. You're recruiting after the season. Perhaps they get about 3 weeks to a month where there's a little dry spell between maybe March and April, if even. There really aren't any off seasons. And he loves the grind. He enjoys going into people's homes and selling their kids on his coaching ability and on the university he represents. This is a guy who's won 7 national championships, 1 at LSU in 2003 and 6 at Alabama, I believe 2007, 2009, 2011, 2012, 2015, 2017, and 2020. In fact, he's actually guided Alabama to the College Football National Playoff Championship game in 6 out of the last 7 seasons. And the Crimson Tide haven't lost more than 2 games in a season since 2010. He's just been absolutely phenomenal. And again, whether or not you like John McKay more, who's got 4, Woody Hayes, who's got 5, or Bear Bryant, who's got 6, everyone's got to respect what Nick Saban's able to do, the consistency with which he's doing it. We're seeing how much money is being thrown at college football coaches. We saw Jimbo Fisher's deal with Texas A&M, getting him $75 million. Kirby Smart, who just won a national championship at Georgia, signed like a 10-year, $120 or $112 million contract. We're seeing just boatloads of money being doled out. These universities, these alums, just have tranches of money that they can just dole out to keep these guys, and good for them and good for him. Even at 70 years old, still becoming the highest paid coach. That's fantastic. And finally, my final Malkin's moment. Shout out to Shaquem Griffin, who just announced this morning his retirement from the NFL after 4 seasons. The former UCF and Seattle Seahawks linebacker announced his retirement from the NFL after 4 seasons in the league. He was the first one-handed player drafted in NFL history. He was born with a disease where he lost his hand, I believe, and he was obviously it was a heartwarming story to see him get drafted, and more importantly, just what it represented. How even in a sport like National Football League, a professional sport, you can overcome even without one hand. To still be able to play in the NFL is amazing. We give Jason Pierre-Paul credit for losing a finger in a fireworks accident. This guy's playing without a hand, and he managed to still get drafted and make an impact. So big shout out to him. He actually accepted an offer from the commissioner, Roger Goodell, to become part of the NFL's Legends community, which was something that he was excited about, being able to vocalize his opinions and help support underprivileged communities. So he's got a bright future ahead of him, but shout out to him. And even though it was a short career, just a tremendously inspiring, incredibly inspiring story on a personal level. So shout out to Shaquem Griffin. That's all the time that I got for today. Thank you so much for joining me right here on Morning Joe every single Monday and Wednesday morning, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 to 11 Central, and 8 to 9 a.m. Pacific. I know I'm finishing a little bit early today. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube page, Morning Joe, J-O, with Jonah Malkin. Follow me on Twitter at morning_Joe or at Jonah_Malkin. Follow me on Instagram, JMalk97, and on TikTok, Jonah Malkin. Thank you so much. And as always, have a lovely rest of your morning.